Oh, yeah.
A to Z Across LC with your hosts, Jeff Alsman and Cody Zipman.
And welcome to another episode of the A to Z Across LC podcast. I'm Jeff Alsman. Cody Zipman is alongside as well. Cody, and
let's keep them beats going.
I can't. It fades out on its own. We'll have producer Earl will have to give us a longer segment to do that.
Come on, O. Bring us in all the way.
Then we got to pay him more. So that may not work. I don't know.
Duties as assigned.
That's a good point. You guys, you administrators always have something to refer back to, don't you?
Yeah.
Hey, we've got a great program today, I hope. We think we do. We're going to have Jessica Noble. She is newly promoted professor of criminal justice. And she's going to tell us all about the criminal justice program here at the college, as well as talk a little bit about National Safety Month. And then it's also the month to celebrate the great outdoors. And so we have invited Lindsay Laird from the Great Rivers and Routes Tourism Bureau to come in and talk about all the events coming on. Or maybe she can't get all of it worked in, but lots of the big events that are happening all around the area here for the summer.
I see on your cheat sheet down here you have...
You're not supposed to tell people we have a cheat sheet.
They already know. Powerboat races. They know that I have a cheat sheet.
You have a cheat sheet.
Yeah. Powerboat races.
Powerboat races.
Yeah.
You're going to get in on that?
I'm intrigued what that is.
Well, we'll find out.
All right.
I think it's more than the bodyboarding with a kayak or with an oar type thing.
Yeah.
Is that what you're used to?
No.
Okay.
I normally stay away from the water. I'm a trail guy.
Okay. All right. I'm more of a water guy myself.
I know. I see you fishing every weekend.
I try to stay away from walking. The boat gets you a lot, you get a lot more places quickly and with a whole lot less energy exuded.
How many fish did you catch this last weekend?
This last weekend, the last picture I sent you,
so the following weekend.
That was 88 crappie.
Oh, man.
I didn't do it by myself, though. It's a team.
Team effort.
A team effort.
We are a team here.
We are a team. We'll take you out one of these times. I've said that before. We just haven't gotten to it yet.
Well, I want to do a podcast from your boat.
I know you do. I've got to work that out with producer O. Awesome. I don't know if that's
come on.
I don't know if that's going to work or not.
Make it happen.
You keep talking. So good. You keep talking to O. He's not on camera. He tries to stay incognito.
Yeah, but we like that. Every once in a while he pops in. That voice.
Turn on my mic.
Hang on. I got to figure out what
Mic 4, get it on.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey,
you're on.
He's on there.
Hey, Cody, this is David O. We're not doing the boat thing.
There you go.
How about a poll?
I got to turn him off.
Feedback. What's our email address or whatever for feedback?
It's probably going to be on the screen here in no time, but it's A2Z podcast at lc.edu.
Okay, all 1.3 million listeners and viewers, can we get some feedback on should we do a podcast from the boat?
So you're putting the pressure on now.
I am.
Because number one, I'm not sure I want to do that on the boat.
We're a committee-run institution. So, if the committee votes, the percentage is up, then we're doing it on a boat.
So we'll see what the audience decides.
Okay.
Hey, we're also going to have with us Troy Taylor from American Hauntings. And I hope there's not a seance, the table starts to lift up or anything like that. But they're going to have their American Hauntings National Convention here on the campus. That comes up towards the end of the month. He'll tell us all about that. And of course, this whole area, and especially parts of Alton, are supposed to be haunted. Well, and here at school too, supposed to be haunted. The library and the Caldwell building and all of that older facility that you don't go up on the fourth floor.
I do not go. No.
Your brother had a really interesting experience. We'll have to get him on. And
we should get him on. I wish he would be on.
Yeah. And not only that, but just, before we talk about a couple of events and then take our first break and bring in the real important people, lots of folks out there that are probably in our audience don't know what this is. And then you probably can't see it real well, but I will let you know it's a quarter. Today is Flip a Coin Day, National Flip a Coin Day. Now, I will tell you that I have a car cup load of change, but I don't carry change. And most people, I think, today don't carry, don't use, don't pay any attention. So we're going to change the rules just a little bit.
We're going to change the
rules. I'm glad you caught that. Instead of it being National Flip a Coin Day, to kind of upgrade, modernize, and stay with, the trend, instead it's going to be National Flip a Debit Card Day. because this is much more realistic. So this will be heads side, and I don't want to flip it around because producer will be like flashing my number out there to everybody to use.
I'm a little bit worried about that.
So yeah, hopefully it flips fast enough that nobody can do a freeze. Oh, he's zooming in now.
Get it though.
So he can do a freeze frame on my number. So we're going to flip this. We are going to let the coin toss or the card toss decide which directions we go on our program today.
Okay.
Do you like that?
I like it.
So I guess the first thing would be, well, we want to cover.
Should we do a podcast
stuff
today?
You made it all the way over here almost on time, and now you want to try to back out.
Should we do a podcast today? Flip.
We already have all of our guests here. We can't renege on our
we got to
guests.
do it. Well, we'll start it after that.
And I need to talk about our events. The important stuff we got to make sure we get
that's
to.
right.
All the other stuff.
And he's already circling the, hey, wrap it up.
I know. We're over our time. I know. So let's talk about the events, and then we'll flip, and then we'll go out.
That sounds good. Okay.
So I do want to let you know that on the 16th, we're having an express registration day from 9 to 10 in the Trimpe Atrium. That'll be for folks that want to come out and go through like the speed course, I guess, in registration. If you haven't done that yet and you are thinking about being a student this fall, you can do that. We've mentioned the Haunted America Conference. That's going to be on the 21st and 22nd. We'll talk more about that later. And then we're going to talk about this in another program coming up. But I did want to mention again Summerfest on July 11th.
I was going to say that.
Big event out here on the grounds. And it's supposed to be bigger and better than ever this year. So our first flip is going to be when we go out, should you do our out cue?
The we are?
Yeah. And if it comes up flag, that was a yes. Mm-hmm. If it comes up backside.
Oh, you flipped it quick.
Real quick. Well, here, I'll do it like this. If it comes up backside, then it would be a no. Okay. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Here we go. I don't have much room to flip. I'm going to have to move off mic to flip. I might have to move off camera.
Throw it in the middle. You just
this
throw it
is
up
probably
in the
going to, okay, you're probably going to fall on the floor.
This is going to be a 2-hour podcast.
Here we go. Oh, you know what?
Oh, I said no.
It came up no, but I don't know. We got to have that, don't we? 2 out of 3.
What if we have guests say it?
We don't have a guest in here right now.
Well, I don't. That means you have to say it going out.
Oh, I'm going to flip 2 out of 3. Here we go. Ready?
All right. And you're saying it.
This is terrible. This is my card is working against me.
Get ready to be fired up by Jeff Alsman.
Okay, so we got to do the out cue. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Jessica Noble, our newly promoted professor of criminal justice here at the college. So we'll be right back after this. We are
LC A2Z.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but I could have been an electrician. Or I could have been a nurse.
Maybe not.
Welcome back to this episode of the A2Z Across LC podcast. Jeff Alsman here, Cody Zipman here as well. And we're joined now by Jessica Noble, who is a professor of criminal justice here on the campus of Lewis and Clark College. Jessica, welcome to the program and congratulations on what we hear has been a recent promotion from associate professor to professor. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What's after professor?
Nothing.
Oh, that's the highest.
That's the highest.
Sound like
go.
a program coordinator, doctor.
Oh, well, I already do that. But.
Okay. Oh.
Other duties as assigned.
Other duties as
Remember what you said?
Yes. Gotcha. Cool.
So the only thing left is like
retirement.
Oh, nice.
I mean, that's a ways away, but yes.
I was thinking like president or something like that.
Oh no.
Down the road somewhere or something.
VP.
No.
VP?
Dean.
Yeah, Dean. Does that work or that? No.
Dean. No.
I'm good. Thank
No,
you.
you
I
can't.
love the classroom.
She's over here. She's going.
No.
You have to. Yeah, you have to actually talk. Although, actually, you probably don't because it is on video. But it works better if you do both.
I prefer the classroom, to be honest.
Good answer.
I love
Good
interacting with
answer.
students.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on being
Thank you.
being appointed professor. So is that how does that happen? Well, I don't mean how does it happen that you got to be professor.
I knew it.
I'm just meaning in general. How does
So
that happen?
it's a pretty lengthy process. There's a sort of like an application / portfolio that you complete. Now it's digital, so it's all through Blackboard. And then the committee meets, and you have to prove 3 areas of effectiveness: teaching, scholarship, and community involvement.
Oh.
So you have to have a certain sections, enough information in each one to prove that you have done.
So you can't just walk right out of college with your degree and walk right into being a professor.
Not here. You cannot.
Okay. So it's kind of like rookie ball. You have A ball, B ball, triple A.
Then you're in the show.
Then you're in the show.
Yeah.
So now you're in the show.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Wow.
So 13 years I worked from.
How many steps? And there's like what?
You can go all the way from associate instructor all the way to professor, and I started an instructor and then just kind of
Worked
my way up.
Is that a relatively average amount of time? Or is that
I think
quickly?
so.
Or?
I think so. I think at the university level it's a little bit different because you have to prove that you've done research and published.
Oh, okay.
But we don't do that at the community college level as much. Well, it's not a requirement. So we get to kind of, do more in the classroom than, say, research if you don't want to.
Cody, you're publishing, I think, right? Aren't you doing like the sports guidelines book in your department or something like that?
Yes. It's called an athletic handbook.
Well, it's still going to be published. So, hey, I'll proofread it for you if you need me to.
I will. It's probably going to come your way within a couple of weeks, dear Jeff, on the athletics team.
Oh, my goodness. So let's talk criminal justice. What goes on? Do you teach people how to become policemen and women, sheriffs, all of that? Is it that type of stuff, law enforcement?
Yes. So there's actually 3 areas of criminal justice. There's courts, corrections, and police. And then there's this wide variety of things that kind of just don't really mesh into one. My background is juvenile probation. So before I came to Lewis and Clark, I was a juvenile probation officer for kids that were delinquency cases and abuse and neglect. I kind of did both. And then I was a social worker in St. Louis before I got hired at Lewis and Clark in 2011. So my husband, I'm married to a police officer. I went to school. Both my degrees are in criminal justice. And a lot of the people that I went to school with do a variety of jobs. So you have everything from, the Department of Corrections, which would be like our Graham, Southwestern Illinois Correctional Center, people that work inside a facility. Then you have the people that supervise those outside of the facility. And then you have people who arrest, people who, do the K-9, the SWAT, the kind of some stuff that might be a little more exciting, I guess. Not exciting, but
specialized,
and it looks more exciting on TV, even though it's a very stressful job.
The TV show job.
Yes. And then you have the people who work with kids, and the people who work in the courts. And as far as the courts go, you have your lawyers, you have court clerks, you have your bailiff, all those individuals, paralegals, legal assistants. I mean, there's so many jobs that are there.
I always thought it would be fun to be a lawyer.
You don't get arguing?
I am. You don't get
Then
a very
you would be
good
good at
reputation, but it seems like it would be kind of neat.
Some of my favorite professors in school were lawyers.
Oh,
so
okay.
They really
So you
teach how to
mentioned
think.
your husband being an officer.
Yeah.
What department? We should give a shout out.
Yeah, he works for St. Louis County Police Department.
Okay, cool.
He's in the Commercial Motor Vehicles Enforcement Unit. So he inspects big trucks
Oh,
now,
cool.
but he was on patrol for 13 years.
Do you feel like, Cody, like we kind of should be on our best behavior?
That's why I'm
I
not
don't
saying
have
a
any
word.
Well, you're not
authority.
saying anything? Yeah.
I have no authority.
I don't see a badge, but
there's
Nope, not anymore.
There's no jokes coming over here. All the jokes are on the Jeff Alsman side.
No, the nice thing now is I get to teach, all of that. And I don't have to, as much, I don't have to do arresting or, warrant searching, that kind of stuff anymore. But I did enjoy that, though. I mean, I really love working with kids. I've noticed that my students, I'm getting a lot more students now, not just that want to be law enforcement, but they want to work with kids and they want to make a difference. So I think that's really awesome because I feel like that's where I was when I was in college. So it's pretty cool.
So 13 years as a professor, right? You said?
Yeah, well, yeah, I've been here for 13 years.
But how many years did you do the previous work?
I was working with kids for, I think, 3 or 4 years before.
Before doing it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I worked a couple of kind of part-time side hustle jobs while I was in college. And one was at a juvenile facility. It was a lockdown, kids in detention. and they were there short term. And then I did juvenile probation. I also worked in the schools too quite a bit, just working with kids. Yeah.
So tell us in this environment, and it seems like it's improved a little bit here lately.
Yeah.
But for a while, it was kind of rough. What is it about the folks who want to go into that field? Because it's sometimes a thankless job.
Very.
You don't get the respect you probably should. Sometimes very outwardly don't get the respect at all. Why do folks, what is it that's inside somebody that they want to pursue that particular field in law enforcement?
I think for the whole entire system for criminal justice, it's all about public service. You have to want to give back. You have to have that heart to do that. And you can really, when you talk to people that are in it and doing it every day, you can really tell that they have that for the most part. There are some that probably are experiencing some level of burnout because we all do that at some point in our career, right? But for the most part, people really, they wanted to change their community, or they wanted to change someone else's life, or sometimes they're directly impacted by the system. So I've seen a lot of people, kids I went to school with, people that I've taught, that have had a bad experience. And they said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to, prove that point. It is a thankless job. It really is. And you can't go into it going, I'm going to make $1 million and I'm going to always get a thank you, because you won't. But the reward is the kids or the adults who say, that could have been a totally different situation, but you gave me a chance. And I'm thankful for that. Or the parent that comes up to you and says, you changed my kid's life. So that's, to me, why people choose to do criminal justice, or they see something, that they want to make a difference. Especially, I think, in the legal side. I think a lot of people go into being a lawyer because they're like, everyone deserves, a good defense. They deserve their chance for their story to be heard, whether they're guilty or not. And I think people, they get pretty passionate about that. I will say it's not a ton of money, but there's the Illinois pays really good.
You got to sell it right now.
Well, Illinois pays very well.
It's a ton of money. Get into it. This is great. People are thanking you all the time in this field.
It's like being an athletic director.
Heck yeah. It's building lives. It's building leaders.
So
Changing the world.
I will say Illinois State Police just recently released that they're going to start their troopers at $89,000.
Ooh, say that again.
That's the best I have heard.
Yeah.
$89K. I mean, we're talking in the state of Illinois. I will say that the police departments in Illinois seem to pay significantly better than some other places. I don't really know the reason for that, but I do think that, there is right now, there's a shortage. If you look around and you look at the statistics, there's a shortage in law enforcement. So one thing they've had to do is up the pay, and they've kind of had to say, okay, so what are the base requirements that we need? And an associate's is the base requirement usually. And so that's why our program's so great, because you get done in 2 years, right? You've got 60 credits, and you're 20 if you start at 18. Now you could be a little bit older. And as long as you're 21 by the time of the firearms portion of the academy, you're good to go. So
that's awesome.
we're recruiting right out. And even if we have a student that's a little bit older, I think you have till you're like 36. So you could still have a second.
Can you switch those numbers around?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
You could be the first.
I think my time has passed me by.
Now, that's just for law enforcement.
Matlock was in the courtroom for a lot. He was a lot older than me.
Okay, but Jeff, see, that's just for law enforcement. Now, on the other side, I don't think there's an age restrictions.
Oh, maybe there's a second career somewhere.
That's what I'm hearing, Jeff. That's what I'm hearing. I want to talk about what's it like being a student in your classroom, in your program. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll just say my students would probably describe me as somebody who is really, really obsessed with criminal justice. It's like my forte. I am in it, and I like to read about it. I like to watch documentaries. I like to do all those things, and I'm encouraging to do that, for them to do that themselves. But I'm also one of those people who, my why for being in that classroom is those students becoming criminal justice professionals. So I want you to do the best job when you get out there, because I know you can do it. And I also, want to show you that you can. And so a big part of why I am a teacher is because I want those people to be the future for what we need.
I like that.
Yeah. I didn't really know my full why until a couple of months ago when I had a guest speaker come into my class and he said, so my why is this. And I thought, oh, wow, I got to rethink that. And so I did, because I thought for a long time my why was like, oh, I just, I'm passionate about this. I like teaching. I love this age group. And I'm like, wait a minute. No. So, yeah, it's been really great.
Never too late to reevaluate where you are and where you want to go.
I don't think so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, before we let you go, we should certainly say that all of the folks in law enforcement out there, wherever age groups they're working with, don't get the respect that they deserve. And if you see one of them, you ought to tell them that. Let them know that you're thankful for their efforts. They put their lives on the line constantly without even thinking. They're always the ones running in when everybody else is running out of a situation. And, that has been used so much it becomes a cliche, but it really is. It's the truth. And so we should certainly extend our thanks to what you do to prepare those folks and then all of those who have that passion for doing that. So thanks for being on the program.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Congratulations again for your promotion to professor. And thanks for everything that you do. And since we're going to go out, we've been using the debit card. I have decided, I think I've figured this out. I have deduced that because of the chip in the card, it weighs the one side heavy. And that's why it's always falling on the backside. So we're going to dispense with this and go back to the old-fashioned
quarter
coin.
I like it.
To actually decide here on Flip a Coin Day whether or not you should do the out cue.
Oh, the out cue. Okay, let's do it.
So here's the deal. If it flips heads, you do it. If it flips tails, Jessica gets to do it.
Okay.
Come on, tails. Come on,
Are
tails.
you thinking I should go back to the debit card? The guaranteed tails? I'm going to flip it over there, so get ready to catch it. Oh, it didn't quite make it. Oh, it's tails.
It's all you.
So the out cue is we are... And you just yell it out, and Cody will count you down if you want to.
Okay.
Professor Jessica Noble with the out cue. 3, 2, 1.
We are LC. I don't know, was that right?
Don't worry, we're not live.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, a proud graduate of Lewis and Clark. I got my start in the radio program that put me on the path to where I am today. We still do radio, but now we're so much more. Podcasting, producing, and editing, not to mention new equipment, studios, courses, and a new name. If you want to work in professional media or create better content for the things you love, do like I did and discover your path at Lewis and Clark Community College. Enroll today at lc.edu.
And welcome back to the A2Z Across LC podcast. My name is Jeff Alsman, and co-host Cody Zipman is alongside. And we're going to talk about the great outdoors and all the fun you can have in the sunshine here in this segment. Our guest is Lindsay Laird. She is the Executive Sales and Events Manager with Rivers and Routes Tourism Bureau here in the River Bend. Lindsay, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Lindsay, what is up? And what is up about these powerboat races?
Oh, gosh, we're so excited.
Are you?
It's going to be awesome.
Okay.
I knew you were going to go right to the powerboat.
Well, yeah, well, of course. Yeah. I mean, I like the outdoors, but tell me about some powerboats.
Well, of course. What else would we start with? So we are very, very excited to bring the F1 powerboats back to Alton for the first time since 1992. It's going to be coming up this month, actually, June 21st and 23rd, or 21st through the 23rd. And if you don't know anything about these boats, they go up to 120 miles per hour, which is really exciting. Alton also actually has a rich history with boating in general. The first kind of race in Alton was in 1894.
I bet that wasn't powerboats.
I don't think so. But a boat race on the river in Alton.
You're pushing it with a
They were dugouts.
Canoes, whatnot.
Yes. You had to be really strong to win that race. Yes.
But with such a rich history, we're very excited to welcome them back to Alton.
So lay this out. I mean, is this NASCAR on the water, on the Mississippi?
Essentially, yes.
These things like
NASCAR
fly.
on the Mississippi.
Yeah.
I mean,
They kind of hydroplane across the water.
The top.
Yep. And we're going to be, so you can get the full schedule of what's going on riversandrauts.com. Some of it might be subject to change, but in general, everything's laid out for when to expect what on riversandrauts.com. And we're really excited for Friday night. Max downtown is going to kick off a meet and greet street party. So you'll get to meet the racers, meet the teams, see the boats up close off the water, and have fun downtown.
So I'm at, sorry, Jeff.
No, it's your
Well,
turn.
I'm looking on this prep work. Like, okay, so it was here last in 92, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the story behind, hey, it's gone, but we need to bring it back?
I don't actually know why it went away. I have no idea. I was quite young in 1992, but I know that one of the gentlemen that works with the F1 Association is from our region, so he's very excited to see it coming back. And then in general, just sports are a great tourism draw, so that's one of Great Rivers and Routes Tourism Bureau's focuses, and this is an incredibly exciting tournament, so we were happy to host them. And Alton and River City culture, you can't say Alton without River City culture, so this is one of the ways to
co-host
embrace.
right now, because you just kind of leaned me into sports are a great draw. So come on out to Lewis and Clark Athletics and see one of our many sporting events all the way from August to May.
Love it.
Free attendance.
He never goes beyond a free plug any chance he gets.
That's right.
You mentioned the local angle, and that's what I was going to ask about. Is there anybody local who drives? I know you talked about there's some local interest or association, but is there anybody even close by that people might gather around and root for? Who would get the local tag in this
That's
event?
a great question, Jeff, and I wish that our sports coordinator was here with me to answer that question.
We're going down the wrong river, our route right now, aren't we?
So, we actually have a new sports tourism coordinator. His name is Owen Dulesky, and we are still looking for volunteers for the F1 Powerboat race. There's opportunities on Saturday and Sunday both. And so if anybody listening is interested, you can email Owen at odelesky@riversandrauts.com, and he can tell you more about whatever you want to know, but especially volunteering.
Cool. Now, it's not for me to plan their event, but I
You're
think
about to.
I am. I think I'm going to try. I think we should get you in one of the preliminary ride-along type things. Just, when they, like just a fake heat race. They wouldn't even have to go full speed. If they're doing 120, that's enough for you.
If I'm going to do it, if we put a camera, we should just go full speed. So everybody.
And your jaws are going to be like flapping like. Oh, my goodness.
That's not bad.
Well,
Can you pull that off?
We'll see what we can do.
No promises. I don't know. Does your insurance cover that?
I don't.
You might want to up your policy a bit.
I don't think our insurance covers it.
Okay, so that's probably a big no.
Probably not going to happen. We don't even need to ask Professor O about that.
Yeah, we can make a waiver.
Okay,
we can make a waiver.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it sounds like it's cool. I've seen these things on TV. I've never seen anything up close like this, but it's almost like the boats aren't even in the water. It's like they're on the water. I was curious, do you have to work it out with like the barge lines to like clear the area for that type of an event for the day or something? Or
there's all kinds of
lots of logistics.
Yes. The city of Alton is coordinating with the F1 Powerboat Company, with Great Rivers and Routes, with the Lock and Dam. I mean, there's so many different pieces to the puzzle that had to come together to make this happen.
So that's on the weekend of June 21 through 23.
Yep.
That's going to really be neat. There'll be cool. A lot of people down there to check that out and see what's going on there. So what else is going on? That's not the only thing going on this summer.
Well, another really exciting thing that's going to be happening at the same time as the F1 Powerboat races is the return of the Mississippi River Festival.
Ah, yes.
Very excited about that. So that ran from 1969 to the early 1980s in Edwardsville. And I just actually went to an event that the Wiley put on that was incredible. It was a Mississippi River Festival revisited kind of concept. And they had a gentleman with a great storytelling voice kind of just narrating the whole historical experience of the festival. And then in between his narration, there were singers, local singers doing features from some of the bands. And the bands that played at that festival.
Incredible. Yes.
Everybody amazing of that time period was in our region playing at that festival.
When they were nobodies, they were
exactly
here.
Exactly. They were here first.
They were here first. And then they started touring and became
Exactly. So
heroes.
If you don't know, listening, we had the Eagles, Joni Mitchell, Grateful Dead is one of my favorites. Just incredible. So we're very excited to bring that festival back. Now, of course, there's going to be changes. It was in Edwardsville. Now it's coming to Alton. It's going to be on the amphitheater, kind of married into that whole weekend with Powerboat. We're going to have races and music, really just getting people excited about what we have to offer. An amphitheater on the river, space on the river to do things like this. So the headlining band for this year's return of Mississippi River Festival is Larkin Poe, and they're kind of like a blues rock band. I've really incredible music. I wasn't a fan until I heard about this, and now I'm a big fan. So $25 for general admission, which is incredibly reasonable, trying to keep in line with what it was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, which was dirt cheap. It was basically nothing, but that's what we're trying to keep, that same energy, make it affordable, make it diverse music offerings. So that one is going to be June 22nd. Gates open at 5 p.m. Music is supposed to start around 6 p.m. And the festival director this time around, it's no longer Lyle Ward. His name is Nick Belfano, and he is one of Alton's own.
Awesome. There you go. Awesome.
That's going to be awesome. What a weekend.
What a weekend. Yeah.
I know.
Fantastic.
I know. It's going to be incredible. So if boats aren't your thing, don't worry. We've got music. If music isn't your thing, don't worry. We've got boats. And if neither of those
I'm sure
things,
you got food everywhere.
We've got food. There's going to be food, vendors, and, Alton. So we're bringing all of these people into Alton, and we hope to encourage them to explore the region, taste the food that we've got to offer. Fresh catfish caught right on the river is absolutely incredible. We've got a bunch of amazing local stores downtown that are going to have their doors open to welcome folks from around the country.
Now, you mentioned a lot about Alton because this event is centralized there, but Rivers and Routes represents a much larger area than just Alton and the surrounding communities. I mean, you expand pretty far, right?
Absolutely. We cover a 6-county region. It's Madison, Macoupin, Montgomery, Jersey, Greene, and Calhoun. And then we also have the city of East St. Louis in St. Clair County. So very expansive region. And we brag about having the intersection of Route 66 and the Great River Road, the confluences of the Mississippi, Missouri, and Illinois River, Illinois.
Some great opportunities for some outdoor fun.
Oh, gosh,
sure. And
yes.
I think in September there's a catfish tournament. I think there's another one in the spring every year that I'm aware of. I'm sure there are a lot of other fishing events that maybe don't even take place on the river, but in other lakes or whatever that are close by. A lot of outdoor things, a lot of sporting events. The River Dragons play all summer long here in Alton, and you've got the Grizzlies just down the road a little bit. I don't know if they're probably not exactly within your purview or the region you cover, but there's all kinds of stuff. And of course, all the youth recreation events, the soccer teams, if you get bored in the summer, it's your own fault.
I was about to say, that's your own fault.
Exactly.
We even have a lot of that stuff that comes on campus. We have, summer recreation groups that come and use our facilities here, whether it's the gym or the tennis courts or the soccer fields, or, a lot of the youth organizations do that. So there's plenty of things to do. And if you're not recreational, there's all kinds of other things to do. There's music events, there's art events. Seems like there's always something going on in the outdoors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's always something going on. We've got the cruise ships that are docking this year. We've got about 20 stops in our region, and they dock in Alton, but they don't just stay in Alton. They go down the River Road. They go to Elsa. They go to Grafton. They go to the Lewis and Clark State Historic Site. They go all over, experiencing and celebrating our region and its culture. And then we've got the last 100 miles of Route 66. We're gearing up for the 100-year anniversary of Route 66 in 2026. And people are so excited. So my job as group sales manager is to convince people that we live in the coolest part of the country. And it's easy to do when you believe that. So I get to talk to all kinds of travel leaders and tell them our story. And Route 66 is a big part of our story. Our Route 66 communities are gearing up for the 100 year. They've got new products, new experiences, and old products and experiences too. And Illinois in general has more to do per square mile on Route 66 than any other Route 66 state. And we represent the last 100 miles in it, from all the way from Verdon up north down to East St. Louis.
So that's going to be that'll be a big time event. Well, as long as we're not canceled, we'll have to have you back to talk about that for sure.
Absolutely, so, I'd love to.
We've got a little bit of time, but we'll have you back for that. Well, it sounds like you certainly are able to stay quite busy.
Oh yeah. This weekend alone, we had 2 teams out, one in Collinsville at the Horseradish Festival, another in Edwardsville at the Route 66 Festival. We're everywhere. We have our fingers in everything, and we love it. It's a very exciting place to be and job to do for our community.
Well, thanks so much for being here. Now, what we've been doing all day today is it's National Flip a Coin Day. So we've been flipping to see who gets to do our out cue. If it lands on heads, Cody does it. If it lands on tails, our guest gets to do it.
Okay.
So, and basically our out cue is we'll count it down and you just yell, "We are." Or you
Very
can yell,
simple.
"We are LC," if you'd like. Either one. If it lands on tails, that's going to be your job. Okay. Are you ready? You ready? We don't have a waiver or anything.
Is this rigged?
Not really.
It was when we were doing the debit card. The debit card kept landing on tails, and I think we have deduced that it's because the chip is heavy, and so it's not a fair, it automatically flips it over. But I think the coin is what it is. So we were afraid most people might not know what a coin is, so that's why we were going with the debit card.
That's good.
But since it didn't work, best laid plans, we're going back to the coin. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's see where it goes. Oh, it's heads. I was so hoping that was going to be tails.
You want to say it?
You want to do it anyway?
Can we do it together?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Okay.
Count it down.
Are you count it down?
Okay, here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
We are
LC A2Z.
Yo, what up? It's Mike Keith, the proud graduate of Lewis and Clark Community College. I got my start in broadcasting and now I work all over the country. I discovered my path in media, but I could have been a welder. Or I could have chosen business.
And welcome back to the A2Z Across LC podcast. Jeff Alsman here, Cody Zipman alongside. And Cody, it's time to get spooky.
Whoa.
And it's not even Halloween. We are joined by Troy Taylor, who is the owner of American Hauntings, and they are having their American Hauntings National Convention on campus here at Lewis and Clark the weekend of June 21st and the 22nd. This will be the second year that they've been here. And Troy, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks.
We've talked, we kidded about, we hope the table doesn't start rising or anything like
well,
that.
I hope not too. I think it's bolted to the floor, so we're really in trouble if it does.
Moving.
So yeah.
Yes. So tell us about this, because this is a big deal for folks who follow. I don't even know what the right word is for it, but the
ghosts, haunted history,
yeah,
the paranormal, the supernatural, whatever you want to call it. This is our 27th year of the podcast. Good grief! I've got a podcast. Too many things going on of the conference, and so we came out here last year, and this is our second year back, and we really like it out here. It's a good spot for us, easy for everybody to find, and we've been through a lot of different locations over the years, a lot of different spots, and we get people who come from all over the country. And being in Alton, I mean,
it's
around
natural,
Alton,
isn't
it
it?
is. It is. One of the most haunted small towns in America, so we've got that reputation, and we're based out of here, so it's easy for us. I mean, I've done a few of our variations of the conference in California and Massachusetts, and it's just better to do it at home. We've discovered that's just a lot easier to let people come to us. So, but yeah, with it being so close to St. Louis, it's easy to get to, whether they're flying or driving or whatever. And we get people from everywhere that come to this thing. So usually about 500 guests a year.
It's amazing because you've got everybody from, these guys are bonkers, to, I'm not sure. And then, of course, you got those that are absolutely, this is, so you have a wide range of folks that almost in any way they're interested somehow in that.
And, and a lot of people are just interested in the history of the stuff or something else to do with it. I mean, we don't get a lot of like UFO people and things because I try to avoid that if all possible. I always say, the UFO people are crazy. And I know they're all saying, those ghost people are nuts. But we get a lot of people who come, to the conference, or they'll come on the tours or something, and they really are just into the history part of it, which is such a big part. So that makes it, I think, appealing to a lot of different levels of people, or you'll get a husband who'll come and because his wife is really into it, or vice versa. And we try to keep them entertained too, the ones who are not so jazzed about being there. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a good time, and a lot of these people, this is the only time of year we see a lot of friends that may live on the other side of the country. So we'll see them when they show up for the conference, and we've had a lot of people who have made friends that they only see at the conference, or they've started. I know people that went into business together because they met at the conference. So you just never know what's going to happen. So it's always a lot of fun.
Well, and you've even told me, we've talked on the phone, and you said people plan their vacation.
Yeah, they do.
Around this convention. They come from, like you'd mentioned, all over different parts of the country.
We have people California, New York, Florida, down south of Mississippi, Alabama. We get people just come from everywhere. And then, of course, a lot of Illinois, Wisconsin, Indiana people, Missouri, of course. But yeah, people come from a long way. They really do.
Cody, any hair raising on your arms yet? Or anything?
No, I'm really intrigued right now because I don't know where to go with the question. So,
well, if somebody taps you on the shoulder, stop talking.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so how many years did you say? 20-something?
27, yeah.
27 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so first go back to, I love that you do it all at home in a central location.
Yeah.
What were you trying to branch out when you were trying to go to the coast?
I mean, kind of. We had some folks who were good friends of mine who said, well, what if, and we still did one here too.
Yeah.
We still did one in Illinois, and they were, said, hey, what if we did one out here? We had one in San Diego, and then we had one on Cape Cod, and they just offered to get it set up for us, to pave the way. And a friend of mine on Cape Cod owns a ghost tour company, so it was kind of a natural for him to help us out. Mm-hmm. And so we did it, but that's complicated. It's really complicated trying to put that together when you can't really be there, and I just show up and I've got this in somebody else's hands. That's hard for me to do. Okay. And the costs are nothing like what they are in Illinois. Right. When you get out on either coast, you're talking about a lot of different things. So, I mean, it was fun, and I think it was 2011 I tried that, and I thought, this is going to be the wave of the future. Once was enough. It was enough. So yeah, we keep it at home. We started off with it in Decatur, Illinois. That's where I grew up. And we started it off at an old haunted movie theater there. Then we moved to an old haunted Masonic temple. And then we moved it down to Alton for a number of years, and we went back to Decatur, and then we've been in Alton ever since. And Alton just works the best.
So off of that, like you said, the UFO people.
Oh yeah, right.
This tells me that you have all different kinds of stories about who comes. So can you give us, like, I guess, an insight to these?
Well, I mean, people come because they have an interest in every part of the paranormal, and we don't really discriminate. I don't book speakers that come to talk about UFOs, but listen, sometimes we get speakers that will come and will hit you with some of the most bizarre stuff ever. I had a good friend of mine, she passed away a couple of years ago, but she was at the conference in the very beginning, and she'd been coming back every single year. And you never knew what she was going to talk about because she was one of those people.
That's Cody on the podcast.
Yeah, well, with her, she had been around for so long. She'd written all these different kinds of books, and some were about UFOs, and some were about ghosts, and some were just angels and witches and all kinds of stuff. Well, one year she shows up, and she's going to talk about the jinn, which is just that's a for people of like Muslim faith or something from, that part of the world, that's sort of like a demonish kind of spirit thing. But it's not a real universal appeal in the Midwest. No one had any idea what she was talking about, not at first. But apparently it's the same thing as a genie. Well, okay, I got that part. But I did say to a friend of mine, if Aladdin comes up on the screen, I'm walking out of here. And sure enough, comes the she was using it as an example. So, but you just never know sometimes, and you have to trust them. But, when we get a new speaker, somebody that hasn't done it before, I kind of like to know what they're planning on talking about before they get here. So I know it's not going to be an hour-long presentation on how, Bigfoot pilots a UFO, or something. And I'm not making other, people have a lot of weird beliefs. I mean, ghosts could be a weird, belief to a lot of people. But I'm not a psychic. I don't talk to dead people. I don't even put a lot of psychic stock in psychic kind of stuff. I'd rather, experience it myself or have some sort of historical record of something happening. That's more of what I personally do. But a lot of people love that stuff. I mean, one of my workshop presenters, Sherry Brake, this year is doing a workshop on auras, which sounds completely ridiculous to me, but that's me. And to other people, they think what I would be interested in is completely ridiculous, and auras are the way to go. So that's the good thing about this event, is because you get so many people. And, if I see, we'll have 500 people here, probably plus. And out of those 500, at least half, probably more than half, have been to at least one of the conferences in the past. And there will be a good third of them that have been 10 or more times. So they just keep coming back because we'll have something different every year, or we'll have a lot of we'll have returning speakers, but they'll be talking about something else, so there's a wide array of topics that pop up for this thing. And, but it mostly, I'm going to say mostly revolves around ghosts. Some of the vendors may be, selling Bigfoot fur or something. I don't know. It's hard to say. But yeah, it's so good. There's always, there are different things to different strokes. I mean, sometimes somebody will do a workshop on like past lives. And I don't know about that. I mean, who knows? I have no idea. Sure, it's interesting, but I'm not going to write a book about it. It's not something I'm going to delve and spend years of research working on. But to somebody else, man, when we have those things, it fills up immediately. Oh,
I got one more.
Go ahead.
Go on.
Absolutely.
I want to know your sweet spot.
That's what I was going to say.
My sweet spot is really haunted history. My books are about, they're probably 90% history and 10% ghosts. That's standard for my books. I also write a lot about true crime, but I grew up with criminals. That sounds awful, but it's semi-true. But
we had that was our first segment.
Criminal justice.
Yeah, I kind of had that going on because I had a lot of family who were involved in carnivals and things. So you know how that goes. So my great-grandfather was a cop, and so when I was a kid, he got me started on ghost stories and crime stories, probably things I probably shouldn't have been hearing about at the age I was when he was telling the stories, but it hooked me. And so when I decided that, I wanted to pursue writing as a job, that's what I started writing about. And I've never gotten tired of it. I mean, I'm still doing it, and I've always got new ideas for something else that I want to work on. And, it's been quite a few years now that I've been doing it. But that's sort of my sweet spot. Like this year at the conference, my presentation this year is about the 1944 Hartford, Connecticut circus fire, because I'm currently writing a book about history of the circus and sideshows and that kind of stuff. And there's plenty of ghost stories that go along with it. So I mix that in. And I do the same thing with true crime books I write. I usually write about crimes most of the time, not always, but almost every crime or series of crimes has a ghost story or two mixed in. It becomes part of the telling. And so that's what I usually try to blend things in together. So those are my sweet spots. So psychics and that kind of stuff, it's while interesting, it's not really my forte. So,
So you'll have a wide variety of things. Just give us a real brief description of what folks can expect. You have events on Friday night that kick it off. different speakers, and then the same thing on Saturday and a bunch of vendors.
We'll have vendors all weekend. We kick things off at I believe like 2:00 on Friday afternoon is when we start checking people in. Vendor room is open at the Hathaway Center, and so we have the vendor room in one room. The theater itself we're using for the conference presentations, and right off the bat, we've got a group, some producers from Colorado that did a film that has actually one of our guest presenters is in the film, so they're going to be showing that. They'll be answering questions. The vendor room will be open, and then we'll kick things off with kind of opening up the conference, and then we have, after our dinner break, we have these 3 women who are self-described granny witches from Appalachia, and they're a hoot. They're hilarious, and people love them. They come in and they present this big thing.
The Appalachian granny witness.
Yeah, they are, and real. Actually, I'm not sure any of them are old enough to be actual grandmothers, but apparently that's a terminology they use for older women, although they're not old, but that's what they call themselves. But anyway,
it sounds good.
Yeah, it does sound good, and they're very entertaining. So we have them on Friday night, and then we do a lot of after-hour things too. We do workshops, and there are ghost hunts at different places around town, like the Mineral Springs and the old Franklin Lodge in Upper Alton, and the McPike Mansion, of course. We do that kind of stuff. And then Saturday, it runs all day with the vendors, and then we have just one speaker after another that runs all day. And I've got a buddy of mine who is here from Ohio who'll be presenting. We've got women in the paranormal. We've got a lot of history stuff, a lot of crime-related stuff, most haunted places in the Midwest, that kind of stuff. So it's just a variety of different speakers all day. So it's a lot of fun. It really is, and it's people can kind of the theater's big enough you can come in and out as you need to. The vendor room is always open. People come and go through there, and the day goes like that. It goes so fast. It's amazing. We look forward to this. We start, as Jeff could tell you, we start planning this thing like a year in advance. Yeah. And so we're already, by the time I'm already thinking about next year. In fact, he and I have been talking about next year. Exactly. So we're always planning this thing. I'll have speakers locked in by the end of the summer for next year already. And but we look forward to it all year, and then it gets here and you're like, oh, it's over. It's already over. So that's usually how it goes.
Well, we want to thank you for being here.
Yeah,
I think it'll be another really cool event. What we've been doing today is National Flip a Coin Day.
Okay.
So we have been flipping the coin. If it comes up on heads, Cody does our out cue, which is you just yell out, "We are LC."
Okay.
If it lands on tails, we've been having our guests do it.
Okay.
Now,
okay.
For this segment, if it doesn't land,
you win.
Yeah. We just go out.
I get to keep the coin.
If the coin stops in midair, we just go out.
Did you hear that? Good thing you switched from the debit card.
I don't know.
If it doesn't land, he gets to keep it.
Yeah, we were flipping a debit card. Okay, so here we go. Ready on the count of... Well, I don't even have to count. I'm just going to flip it. Ready?
We are LC.